Folks, welcome back to the Carver's Wood Shop. This is Arlene once again. I want to thank you for joining me. This is the new little thing we're going to do here is the eagle with the hat. Thanks for joining me on my new website. You can find everything there. You can find the free YouTube videos. You can find the online store where you can purchase these little videos and online and a whole bunch of stuff on there. So take a look at my new website. It's thecarverswoodshopusa.com. It's all one word. carverswoodshopusa.com. All right, so that's the new website, and here I'm going to go ahead and start putting in the bill. Let me give you the dimensions of the block. It's 1.5 by 1.5 by 2.5 inches high, and then we taper it from about midway, a little bit higher than midway, to an inch in across. So an inch this way, an inch that way, approximately. I do it mainly by looking at it, but I cut hundreds of these up already, and I do have these on my online store. You're welcome to take a look at that. Just go to where it says DVDs and tools and basswood and click on the picture of the, I think it's the nativity scene, and that should bring you right to the website, okay, that you can purchase these with a credit card or any of my stuff there. Okay, so this is what I do. About maybe not quite halfway I make a mark, and about 1/4 of an inch at the top I put another mark. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the design on. So how do I do this? After I make those two marks, one at the top, one on the bottom, I kind of measure how far I want the bill to go in. So maybe it's a good 3/4 of an inch over. I don't do anything with a ruler. I kind of just eyeball it. But if you want to use a ruler, that's fine. And then I do the other side, just do a mark. So they're exactly the same. And I always measure everything with my finger leaning up against it and then my pencil going across. All right. So what I do is I bring this down like an S, like a small S here, like this. And like this. Right here, we're going to draw a line right across the bottom. And again, I'm holding my finger up against the block and doing it this way. Okay? And then the same thing here. We're going to go ahead and go across this way, around. So it roughly looks about the same. Let me do this back here so I can see it a little bit better. That's a little bit off, so that's too far over. So let me just redo this a little bit. Okay, so there's our little design. Okay, so this is the top of the bill, this is the bottom. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our knife and we're first going to push at the bottom. And you want to put your thumb guard on or your little, I'll put them on in a minute here. I'll show you what I use. Put on your thumb guard and your glove. And you're just going to start doing a stop cut at the bottom. All right. Okay, so you don't want to do it completely flat. You kind of want to go about a third of the way down, and then we're going to round it to those corners just a little bit to the side. All right. Okay, that's the first cut. Then we're going to go up here and we're going to do a little notch at the top of the hat here, or on the top of the bill and where the hats start. I'm going to put a little notch there, a little notch there. Okay, just like so. Now, the other thing you're going to do here is you're going to go ahead and you're going to follow this line exactly straight in, and you're going to cut it like so. If you look at it from this side, it should be parallel with this as you're cutting. Alright, so I'm going to make a stop cut. Well, actually, we're going to stop there for a second because our little hat's going to come down and around. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this down like so. Okay. Now you can make this not as deep as you want. You can bring this up just a tad like so. Right, and a little bit off like that. Okay. So that we're going to figure out how far down we're going to go. And this just kind of drooped down a little bit. That's about right. Yep. I'm going to come down a little further. All right. Now I'm going to measure again with my finger to the other side. I'm going to bring this down. All right. Then I'm going to measure the back just a tiny bit lower. Or you can make it exactly the same, but go a little bit lower, just maybe 1/8 of an inch. And then I attach both of these together, like so. Okay, one. And this is going to come up a little bit. All right, so it should look somewhat like this. If you want to go up a little higher, you can cut that corner off a little bit. Alright, so here we go. So we have that. So what I do is I do all my corners first. I always do my corners first. Just underneath. 1, 2, and 3. Alright. Once you get all the corners done, then we're going to go ahead and trim out. So this is our stop cut, where you make a line and you bring it up or you bring it down to that cut. It's called a stop cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight in, just like so. Now we're going to come down right to there. Okay? And we're going to just undercut that with the tip of our knife, just like so. Okay? And you're going to do each side that way. You're going to come up this way. And you're going to do the back side as well. And we're going to go a lot deeper. This is just giving us an idea of where to go. You can use your V tool if you want to make this cut. That's fine too. Alright, so after we get that done, I take this, there's a little space right here and here. I'm going to take that right over to it, like so. Cut that out. So we almost have our bill in there already. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put across the very top. And one over here, and I'm going to put a circle in the middle, evenly as I can, then I know this is the center. All right. And that's going to be the top of my tassel that you see right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to start heading towards that tassel, about midway up. But not from the bottom, from midway up. Okay, we'll continue in a minute. Okay, we're continuing with this eaglet with the green hat. Eagle with the green hat. I made many of these, as you can understand, with what happened in Philadelphia. But anyway, we're going to keep cutting these out. And I'm heading towards that circle. Let me make sure I got that circle right. It doesn't look right. to me. Let me do this back here. I can't always do everything right in front of the camera. It's kind of hard for me to determine if I have things even or not. Okay, that's better. Alright, so I'm just, one thing I use a lot of is I use a lot of this solution of water and rubbing alcohol, and it makes it cut like butter on some of the stuff. If you get really hard stuff from one of the big excuse me, big stores, it's not really going to help that much, but I do know it helps somewhat. And you're going to go all the way around until you get close to that. I have a lot of projects kind of lined up. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to do one with eyes after we do this one. And then after we're done with this, we will do one of the baby chicks for Easter, and hopefully the Easter bunny, that little floppy bunny I just created this past week. Everybody seemed to love the bunny. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. Okay, so that's pretty close to where I want to go with that. All right, so now I'm going to go back here, and I'm just going to just clip each corner off. This can go a little bit deeper. There's some feathering in here we're going to do, so it's going to be, you'll need a V3 or some little parting tool to make our feathers later on. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how I do this with a little V tool. Okay, I already had my line here, but I'm going to just go up here a little ways and follow that line up a little bit, just like so. All right, then I go back with the knife and I recut it again. This is optional. You don't have to do it with the V tool, but I think it gives it a little bit more depth when you do it with the V tool. All right, just like so. And then I'm certainly really going to do this back portion here. Okay, see how I can get that really deep? But the reason I go back with it with the knife is two reasons. It gives it more depth, and you definitely get a corner line. You can leave it like that, but when you go to paint it, the paints will kind of blend together, bleed into each other. So I usually put another cut right on in the corner of that V cut, and I follow this out again. Up around the corner there, down, and then I bring it up a little bit more on this side, on the bottom side, just to give it a little extra, just a little extra depth to it. And then again, I re-establish my bill for the eagle there. This is all gonna come down a little bit. Okay, see it coming. Do see it coming. So we're gonna take this out a little bit. We're gonna take that off of there, and we're gonna just recut that. Let me do that back here, just a little easier for me to see it. Okay, so what I did is I just went ahead and made it a little bit deeper there. You can cut it in a little bit deeper, just where, see that we get that curvature in there. All right. And then I round off the hat a little bit. I start blending it together here. And I'm going to get all this rough stuff off. Okay. I'm going to get all this rough stuff off of here. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just pull some of this out. All right. So that's what we have. And we'll see what we come up with here. What we do to the very top is we take my finger again. I go down. Oh, this is almost going to be flat right here. Okay. So we're going to go over here and we're going to just kind of mesh this all in. It's going to be flat there. Yeah. Try to make that a little more even than that was. Okay. Okay, that's better. We're going to go with that top line. I'm going to take my little V tool. Okay, again. And we're going to go right from here and we're going to start chopping right on the line. Close to that line as you can. All right, and take a look at it, see if it's even. If it's not, you can take it down a little bit with your knife. And we're just going to go in a little ways and try to make it even and round as this is. Okay, so we're going to go over here and we're going to take our knife and we're going to kind of do the stop cut first. All the way around. Then I go back and I slice it off. And you keep doing that until you get all the way around, until you get that. If it doesn't come free, you go back and recut it, okay? So I'm going to do this offline for a second, and then we'll be right back. Hi folks, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and continue. I made this, you see I have my thumb guards on. The reason I do this is just simply not to cut my one side, and I can push harder with this thumb. It just, when I do a lot of carving, I wrap up both. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do this circle. We went ahead and cut it all the way in like we should have. And I'm going to show you how I round it. What I do is I do another round like this. I go around all the way, and then I take a sliver off the bottom. You can usually cut it out. Alright, so it slants inward. And I took the hard stuff off the top. I just went ahead and let me just adjust this camera a little bit. Alright, let me go that way. There we go. Alright, so what we have is we have this already shaved off or slivered off. It's that, it looks like this when you do it. I wet it a little bit again, and all you do is take a little bit off, and then I take one nice big corner out all the way around. Okay, so it should look like that. And then I take this little edge off here. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can bring this a little closer. Okay. I take this little edge off right here. And I go all the way around. That's that second edge. And then I go back to the very top here and I take another little edge off. Okay, so that usually takes care of that problem. All right, so that's how you round up the tassel, and then you have this little piece right here that you just took off. Okay, let me bring that back a little bit again. All right, so that's how you do the tassel. I'll go around and do that a little bit better offline. So here now we have all this rough stuff around here. So you're going to sliver all this off with the knife. Let me get my other knife here. There we go. And what I do is I just take it and I take all this rough stuff off that you see. I don't know if you can see that very well or not. Okay, this rough stuff right here. All right, all this stuff comes off. Okay, I'm doing a little experimentation with the new camera, so I'll try to stay in focus here as much as I can. But here's the rough stuff again. So I just take a flat knife and I just slowly go over it really, really carefully. All right. Same thing over here. And if it's sharp enough, you should be able... I use a slicing motion. I don't just cut across. I use a slicing motion. That works really well for a lot of applications. Okay. And that's pretty well the hat for now. And we're going to put this tassel on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth this out a little bit here. Okay. At the top here. It's pretty flat. And I'm going to take this hard edge off. It's rounded. Bring this back a little bit. It's a little rounded. Okay. So we're going to take all that off. And what I do is I just go around and I slice it. And just round it off. You want to round it right up to the bottom part of that tassel. All right. All right. Now that we have all the hard stuff off and we have all the hard edges off of here, and kind of round it off a little bit. Now, this doesn't mean you have to absolutely make it round. It's always going to look a little bit on the square side, but we give it the illusion that it's round. What I do is I take my pencil, if I can find it. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, it's down here on the floor. Okay. What we're going to do here is we're going to put this little edge on next, okay? So we're going to go all the way around about 1/4 of an inch. All the way around. And you're going to leave a little gap here between the hat and the, so I can bring that up a little closer. Between the hat and the tassel. We're going to put a little bit of a marking there. And then I use my V tool for this, and I follow the curve of the hat. All right. All right. Then I take my V tool, my 4.5 V tool, and I go over the top a little bit, and I just start I either go right on the line or right above it. All right. I try to take it all the way around back to the top. Just like that. It's a little hard to get in there with this particular tool, so I take my V3, right, and I'll go right over the top here. All right. Then I go back with my knife, and I turn it around, and I actually go back down this way. All right, just along the edge there. I call it scoring or making a line. Put a little stop cut all the way around. All right. Then I turn it around and I go from the top of the hat. I take it in a little bit. Okay. And I might go in a little deeper. But I go all the way around like so. And then you see there's a little hard edge right there. I don't know if you... Let me turn this one light off. Maybe there's too much light on here. Yeah, there is. Okay. There's a little bit of a hard edge right there. And I'll take that off as well. Alright. Let me turn that light on, but I'm going to flip that light further away. Right there. Okay. So, what we're going to do here is you go all the way around and you take care of that all the way around. And then you go back and you do this side as well, right here. All right, and then you kind of round off your tassel. There's a little bit of room right in between here. Let me experiment something here. Okay, there we go. There's a little bit of you clean it up pretty well underneath here. You make a little bit of a dip there. You just bring it in just a tad, just like that on one side. I'll do that on this side. Okay. And I clean up everything. I round everything up nicely. Then your hat is basically done. Then I come back down here and I round this off a little bit more. And I just round it up. If this isn't deep enough, because I haven't cut this portion out yet, then I go back and make it deeper. We'll be right back. Okay, now we're back again, and what we're doing is I took care of the hat and the tassel and rounded everything off. The other thing is if there's any hard edges or any rough spots you need to get rid of, I would do that for the bill right now. Okay. All right. So that's where we're at right now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to draw the lines on for where his wings are going to be. So what I do is about 1/4 of an inch over. I make a mark one side, the other side, behind on the tail side on the back, and then on the other side. So the right side, left side, and on the back of the tail. And then I put maybe 3/8 of an inch up. From there, I put another mark. So you should have a bunch of marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. 2 for each wing, 2 for the tail, and then the 7th one is at the top there for his feet. All right, so what I do is I look at it from the side, and then I take my pencil and I just kind of, and then bring it in a little bit, just like so. Then I go over here, and I kind of do the same distance from the hat. So I want to make sure it's the same on both sides. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over. And I don't take it all the way to the end, just a little bit towards the center. I'm going to show you how I do one side, and then you can go ahead and do the other side. I do all the wings like that. I don't take it all the way to the corner. I only take it maybe 3/8 from the corner. And same thing with the tail. You just don't want to go all the way to the edge. You want to go a little bit over when you do this. All right. So you've got 2 wings, a tail. Now you're going to put the feet in, which is this portion right here. This portion right here is the one you're going to put in next. So all that, and you don't want to go all the way from the wing. You want to go about 3/8 of an inch again, and just do a little bit of a curvature there. Okay, and then the same thing over here. And look at it and see if it's even or not. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do the front. I'm going to just take the little bit of those corners out first. And same thing over here. All right. Then I'm going to let that go, and then I'm going to go over here to the one edge here. So I can bring that up a little closer. Okay. One edge here. I'm going to go up a little bit. I'm going to cut that out. All right. I'm going to go up here a little bit as well. I'm going to cut this little piece out. All right. I'm going to do the back side of each wing. Oops. I want to do that. Okay. And I round this off in between the wings a little bit. Okay, this is the back side. All right. So now when I get all those corners done on the bottom, all the way around, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to go exactly about, not the same, about the same angle as the corner. I'll follow that all the way down, just like so. And I'm just going to cut that little piece out. Don't tear it out. Just use your knife to do it. Okay, so it should look like that. I do the same thing over here. I'm just going to follow that line out. And I'm going to just take the tip of the knife and take that piece out. Okay, the piece should come out a little bit more. Okay, just like so. And you're going to do all your sides like that, okay? Now once you get those all done, I'll do this wing here. Okay, and this one here. Okay, once you get those all done, what you want to do is look at it. Okay, now in the front, we're going to worry about this a little bit later, but we're going to do the wings here first. If it's not deep enough, you do it again, just a little bit. You want to make sure those wings are just sticking out a little bit. Okay, then under here, what I do, I'll show you that later. What I do is I start rounding this off a little bit. I don't sweep it in too far. And, I have this wing coming out a little bit. Just round it off a little bit. All right, and then you want to take those hard edges off, like we always do. And be mindful how the knife is going here. And if this isn't deep enough here, you just recut it a little bit and make it a little bit deeper. All right. that's how we get the one wing out, and that's how we round the one wing. And then right here, then you do the tail side, you just kind of round it up, take a little bit off the corner at the bottom, but you'll see, and take it up to the bottom part of the cap. All right. All right. And then again, you take all those hard edges off. I'll do this wing over here the same way. It's been a very busy January and February for sure. I've been carving up a storm, as some of you have seen, on Facebook. If you're not part of Facebook, I ask that you join us there. I have all my events and stuff, but I also will have my events on the new website as well. Okay, so, alright, so I'm going to clean this up a little bit better when we get offline, and I'll show you how to do the front here and the feet. And then we're going to start putting our feathering in and finish our bill. We'll be back. Okay, I cleaned it up a bit. And what we're doing now is we're going to do the bottom part where the feet are. So we're just going to put a little notch, top and bottom, a nice little V-cut with the knife. And then you can take your little V-tool and cut around to give you an idea where the feet are going to go. And you can do the same thing over here and try to make it even. Mine's a little bit uneven. There we go. My bill's a little uneven too, but it's a little hard to do it with the in front of the camera. I haven't done it in a while, but that's what it looks like so far. Then you take all this hard stuff off again. I did that offline, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start blending this in, rounding the breast here a little bit, the chest area, and then we're going to round this off a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to recut this right here. I'm going to recut it with the knife. I'm going to come up from the foot up. All right, there we go. Now you can make this eagle any size you want, as long as it's square. As long as it's square, you can make it 3 inches tall, 2 inches tall, 4 inches tall by 3 inch by 3 inch, whatever you want. There's no limit to these blocks. Any of these blocks that I do, you can make them any size. Sometimes I think it's fun doing the small stuff myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to round the bottom part of the foot off. Just a little bit, like this. And I'm going to take my little V tool. I'm going to go right up the center to separate the feet. Alright. And then I take just to mark where they are, I go a third and a third. So I'll go about here and about here. And same thing over here. Mark it about a third, another third. Alright. And then I take my V tool again. Actually, I take the larger one. A little easier. And I just do the bottom part first towards the back. Then it's going this way. That way. Like he's curling his toes. Or his claws, or whatever you want to call them. And then I take it around and I just do a little bit of a curvature. Okay? Alright, after that, I take the little V tool and I make his little knuckles in here. Go 1, 2, 3. I do one on the last one towards the smaller one, and then on the other two I do 2. Okay, just like that. That's it. That's all you got to do. Okay, so the feet are done. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to round off this body a little bit more. We're going to make sure it's all these hard edges are gone. All right. All these hard edges are gone everywhere. And this is going to be flat anyway, so don't worry about that. That's going to be flat anyhow, so that doesn't really matter. All right. And I have it curling a little bit, so it looks like it's tucked underneath him a little bit there. Now the feathering is a little weird. Not weird, but a little bit time consuming. For this feather here, I used to put 3 on, but I put one large one like this, not all the way to the bottom. And this is my second one here. I leave that as it is. Then I do the same thing over here. I'm just going to show you a small portion of what it's like to cut these out. I use just a knife. You can use a parting tool, but it's not as easy. And then I put one here for the feather on the back. All right. And then here, let's start with that. That's going to be kind of the hard part. So what I do is I actually follow this line that I created, and I follow it all the way up to there. And I undercut it from the other side, so it looks like a feather on top of a feather. And you need to be very careful. Let me bring this up a little closer that you can see it. Okay. Let's see if I can focus that in there. All right. So what's going to happen is, let's do this again. There we go. We're going to just slowly take this out. You can usually use the tip of the knife to do this. I usually do, because I'm sitting here like I am trying to do this for you. I usually use the tip of my knife to get underneath there. So that's what we have, all right? And then you do that feather the same way. This one's on top, so you just go down one side and over, and then slowly take the tip of your knife and cut it out. All right. And then you do the other side as well. And then you do this side. Okay. So once you get all that done, then you get all those feathers cut out. And I'll do a lot of that offline because it's kind of repetitious, but you at least know how to do them. Clean this up. We're going to put the bill in here. It's very simple to do. We're just going to put a little line like this. Okay. And one over here. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your little V tool, and you're going to make sure it's very sharp when you do this. And you're going to go near the tip of the bill. Okay. And then you're going to just slowly go over like so. That's it. Okay. You're going to do the other side. Let me do that back here so I can see it. All right. Now, so when you cut out both of those, what I do a lot of times, and if you want to, you don't have to, but I go right up here and I just cut a little cut out right underneath. Very, very slightly, very, very carefully. I cut that out. All right. And then I trim this back just a little bit. And trim this side off a little bit. All right. And that's how we put the bill, and that's how I do the bill on that. Okay. So now we're doing the rest of the body here. And how we do the feathering, we'll start on the back. Well, I'll come back with another video on how to do all the feathering. I'll finish up the feathering that I need to do on here, and then we'll go from there. Okay? I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Now we're doing the little bit of the feathering. Now I did the front here a little bit. I did a little zigzag for the white part. Okay, for the white part. You can make it any length you want or unevenness you want. If you make it a little bit uneven, it looks a little more realistic. Okay, you can see all the feathering detail is going to be quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, I usually take one of these knives and make sure you put your zigzag there, and you're just going to go really deep where the top of it is. All right, so like so, this way. I do all these zigzags first, and then I come back and I cut them out. For some reason that is dull, and I don't know why. Let's try something else. Here we go. I can tell, you can usually tell if a blade is dull because it's not, it doesn't glide through the wood very well. And that's why we sometimes want to polish our blades. It's like waxing a car and throwing a rag over a car. If it's nice and smooth, it will slide right over. If not, it's going to stop halfway over the hood. And it's the same thing. If you make these nice and sharp and glossy, somewhat glossy, it goes through the wood a lot better. So now we're going to just take the tip of the knife and we're just going to take a piece out at a time. Just like so. Notice I'm taking the edge of my knife and following it up through that, up alongside of that cut. You just want to be very careful when you do this. Now you can start up the corner if you want, and then do the other side like this if you're not comfortable with gliding that blade up. Now, please, if it doesn't come out free, please go back and cut it. If you try to pull it, you might pull out just a little section you don't want to pull out. So be careful of that. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at here with this. I'll go back and clean it up a little bit more once I'm off line. Alright, so we have the bill in, we have this done. Now I took the liberty of doing one set of feathering. I got the feathering done in the back, all the wings. Now I'm doing these. And I just marked it off. Why is it blurry? There we go. We marked it off, and now we have it like this. So what we want to do is just follow that line. And you have to kind of think which feather is on top of which. This one's on top of these three, and do it in sequence of the one that's on the top, most on top. Okay, so just take your blade and you're going to cut a little bit out, just like so. And there's one. And this would be the next one right here. And then we take it up again, slowly cut it out. And then we do the next one. Alright, so the back is completely done. The wings are completely done. And I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, there's one little piece there. And now we're going to do the front. Same idea as in the back. So I turn it upside down, and I do have circles. I'll start at an odd place, and then I work my way. Okay, that way. Maybe I'll come over here and put one down. Now, the one thing you want to remember, when you make these pencil marks, you want to kind of get rid of them. Alright, either with your knife or... So there's our first row. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to make another half of one here. And I'm going to try to blend that one in underneath it. Okay, and here I'm going to do another one all the way down to the bottom. So this is going to be one by itself. And I turn it over here, and I maybe will do this one all the way up to the top. All right, and then I might do a half of one here. You kind of just have to look at it and see how it's going to lay out. All right, so take our knife and we'll start with the very first one, this one up here. So we're going to go over here, we're going to cut it out, and I'm going to go above that line a little bit simply because I don't want to erase it with an eraser, because that makes it a mess. So I'm going to go around here and I'm going to just cut that first one out. Now if I didn't do it deep enough, you have to go back and do it again. Let me take a look at it back here for a second. It's kind of hard to see that. Okay, so there's our first cut. All right, we're going to go up this way a little bit. There we go. I take a little bit of that thing off. There we go. That's our first cut. Our second cut is going to be this one to here. All right, so, and you work your way all the way around as far as you can go. I'm going to take this over just a tad more. Usually I don't draw them on. I've done so many of these I don't need to. But most people draw them on. I did that for years, so don't feel bad if you can't do it without drawing it on. When you draw it on, it gives you a little more confidence where to cut. And as you see, we all use it a little bit anyway. So now we're going to go over here. I'm going to unlock that. There we go. Let me lock that back in. Alright. I'm still learning this camera, so bear with me, okay? I try to give you the best possible view of what I'm doing. And alright. That's it. And then I'll do the last of them offline. Okay, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how to put all the feathering in with a little V tool. It's got a little time consuming, but we'll do the hat first and things. Okay, in fact, we can do the hat a little bit now. I use a little V tool with the tassel. I go in one direction. I do a row going all the way around. I hold it a little bit at an angle, and I'll go all the way around. And then once I'm done going all the way around, then I do another row. I turn it around this way and I go the opposite way. I mean, the same direction, and I keep going until I get that little spiral bit. We'll be back. I'll show you the rest of it. Okay, we're back. Let's show you what I did here, and I'll show you how to finish this up, or most of it anyway. Okay, so when we do our little row in the bottom, like I showed you in the last video, then you do a second row. And you keep going in the same direction, and that will give you the spiral. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and keep going here. And I just keep turning it and try to see where I left off. And I just keep going until I get to the middle. Alright, so that's how the spiral's done. Alright, that's how the tassel's done. Now I took the liberty to go ahead and do the outside first, and I always do it at an angle. I didn't do this section, so I'll show you how this section is done, but that's how all of it is done, and I'll show you how to blend it. So when you're doing this, you hold it at it and have it at an angle, and you just take a little bit out at a time, like so. And just follow that all the way around. Then you do the bottom half the same way. You kind of take this way and you just kind of follow the same direction as this is, or as close to it as you can. And again, it's going to be at an angle. All right, we're going to cross the grain here. It's a little more difficult on this one side. And then when you do the top and you do the bottom, you kind of just blend it in. You do another row or two, and you just crisscross a little bit and go back and do another one on the bottom here. See how it's starting to blend in? All right, and then you do that all the way around. Go ahead and make sure you get rid of all the flat spots everywhere. Everything is done. Okay, I'm going to turn this over, because I always like working towards the top. Away from me. So this is how let me get that a little bit better. I kind of blend it in a little bit better. There we go. You do the same thing over here on the top. Let's see if I can bring it a little bit closer for you to see it. Okay. I'll start here. And I'll go around the whole thing like this. All right, so that's how that's done. All right, I'll do the top here a little bit later, but it's the same concept. All right, and then you'll get it all blended in. It will look all like this. I'll show you at the end that it will look like that all the way around. Okay, we're over here right now. Just a couple. You see where there's a blank spot like here? Just go back and hit it. All right, so from there, I did one feather over here. Okay, so you go up the center, and then you do, going towards an angle, do one side of the feather and then the other. And here I'm doing one down here. This is the bottom one. You never put the center right underneath. You offset it a bit. Okay, and then I'll come over here and do this one. Hang on just a second. I can't do it from there. I'll be right back. It's so much easier to do it up close. Okay, so now I have this one as well. Okay, so this feather is completely done. And that's how you do that one and this one. You do the top one down the center. Okay, and then you do on either side. And then you just do one on the bottom, one side, the one that's laying underneath. So that's the feathering we do on both wings and the tail. Okay, so once you get that done, what's going to happen is these feathers are next. We'll start back here. We're going to go right up the middle, or somewhere off center. So if this feather goes all the way around, you want to kind of go over here. You don't want to go right in the middle, over here. Okay, and again, you're going to go from one side. And you can put these as close together as you want. And then you're going to do the other side. Now, it's a little tricky when you get in here. Now, I just got something which should have helped me a long time ago. I got a little toothbrush. You get 5 of these for $1 at Walmart. And when you're done, you know, if there's any loose stuff, you can get it off, and it won't hurt. It won't hurt brushing it off. Okay, so the next feather we're doing is the one next underneath it, like this. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go in very carefully. A little hard to get in there, but it's important that you have a V3 to do this. This is the smallest one I have. Well, not the tiniest, but I do like this V3. I use it for all kinds of stuff. And then you do the bottom one next. All right. Do the bottom one next. And then come up this way. And sometimes you're going to go against the grain. I can feel that. All right. But if your little V tool is sharp enough, it should handle it fine. Okay, now I'm going to take my little brush and I'll brush it off. That one's a little bit big. And down here, you just do another one. And again, you do from both sides. It's a couple lines. So then you have it all done. Okay, so you get your feathers done, you get these done. And if any of this is really loose, you go back with your knife and just stab it a little bit, it will come right out. Now in the front here, where the white starts, it's just little lines going down. So I'll show you how I did that. Just a little bit of crisscross and, you know, just a little bit of crisscross there. All right. The same thing with this one down here. Now, you don't want to go all the way to the end because you don't want to chip anything out. But that's how all these are done at the top. And then these feathers are done exactly as you did back here. No different. We'll just pick one here. And then we'll go up here and we'll go ahead and notice I have my thumb on my piece all the time. That can really, I'm really pushing with this part of my hand when I do it. Okay. So here I'm going to go up this way. And then you do the next feather. And you do all these until they're done. Now there's one little thing I want to show you before we get off of here. Right here, notice I take a little bit of a V cut out. Let me bring this up a little closer. Right here I'm going to do the same thing. I want this to look a little rounded down here. So I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to push it in one side, then the other, and I'm going to take my blade and I'm just going to go up along the side of the foot. So that gives it a little bit of roundness to it. I did one there, I did one there, okay? So when I come back, we'll have a completed one and then I'll share with you how to paint it. Hi folks, welcome back to the Carver's Wood Shop. This is our final video, and what I have here is it's completely done now, okay? This is completely done. And just to share with you the colors on this, let me just back this up a little bit. This is done with a burnt sienna and burnt umber mix, okay, to the consistency of coffee. And if you look really close, you can see the wood through it. Then white, green, all right, any kind of green you want to put in there. And then white for the tassel and the tail and the brim of the hat and where his feathers are on his neck, okay, on his head and on his neck. So this is what it looks like, and gold for the feet and the bill. And then, or the beak, and then black little black talons. It's just the black paint, and then I use a burnt oil. Let me explain this. Oil-based burnt umber, about an inch strip and a half of a container of mineral oil, and I mix it up really, really well, and I lather it with it. As my final for antiquing. So I will do a video on that. I do have a video on that on YouTube. If you're interested in seeing that, there is a video about that on there. Okay, about that. All right, so this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And like I said, this piece was really a lot of fun to do. All right, folks, thanks for joining me here on the Carver's Wood Shop. We'll start on the baby chick next. That's my next project. And then later on, hopefully, we'll do the bunny. Okay, the little bunny. Okay. I think it'll be fun. All right, take care, and we'll see you next time on the Covers Wood Shop. Thanks for joining and supporting me today. Bye-bye.